The biggest thing is trust, openness and honesty. When you go through the highs and lows together, you're tested when it's challenging times. And I think that's what the value of belonging and togetherness plays a big role.
Welcome to Football for Breakfast, brought to you by OSS Security. I'm Jim Johnson, and our guest today has spent over 25 years improving lives in global healthcare, currently bringing breakthrough technology to patients facing the loss of their sight. His name is Syed Rashid, and he's old enough to remember the roar of Highbury. Over breakfast, we talk leadership, loyalty, and what the beautiful game teaches you about bringing people with you. Put the kettle on. You're amongst good companions.
Hey,
Syed
Jim.
Rashid, yes.
It's all right. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's all very, very nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the Greasy Spoon. Toasted egg and cheese. Interesting choice.
It's brunch, let's just call it, so that's easier to have than meat, I guess. So,
Right.
So,
Not so heavy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to the why perhaps you don't want a heavy meal a bit later. I've just been reading in this 17th of May, 1980 episode, issue of Roy of the Rovers. In Roy's Summer Quiz League, here's a question for you.
Right.
You'll appreciate this, right? Okay. Given that football's not your only sporting passion.
Yeah.
So think, this is 1980.
Yeah.
On the 25th of March, who made his Football League debut for Scunthorpe United in an away fixture at AFC Bournemouth?
Did he go on to play for Arsenal?
No, he didn't. He didn't. The answer is Ian Botham.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Right.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about cricket maybe a little bit later.
No,
but this is all football for breakfast, right?
All right.
Okay, so take me back. Your earliest memory of football?
That's a really good question. My earliest memory was not too far from the year that you've just talked about. 1979 was when I got the football drug, so to speak. Basically was the FA Cup final. You may remember the Alan Sunderland goal.
The 5-minute final.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was it. I was really sort of taken by the game. We grew up in northwest London in Harrow, and so it was just down the road. So, I mean, even the energy from the stadium you could sort of hear that day. And
so where's Harrow in relation to Wembley?
It's literally about 2 miles down the road.
Really?
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm assuming you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Right.
Yes.
So were you able to drink in the atmosphere? Do you remember anything about that, or were you too young?
I was quite young, but I just remember obviously where we live. Before the game, you have all the traffic that travelling to Wembley, so you see all the coaches.
So had you chosen Arsenal as your team?
Yes, I did. Yes, and that was the moment. To be fair, was that my dad was being local to that area. He followed Watford, but I didn't. Yeah, he did follow Watford. But then I got the Arsenal drug. He started to follow Arsenal, but he was more generally into football,
right,
as a general rather than the specific team. But in those times it was difficult for us to go to games without sort of raising. It's a lot easier now, and we don't have the issues that we experienced in back then, but it still meant that match of the day was a very special event in
it was in those days. And I suppose I mean I have very vivid memories of the 1979 FA Cup final. In many ways it's not quite my earliest memory. I think the 1978 Cup final is my earliest memory.
Right.
But I do remember that the 1979 FA Cup final was the one that cemented my relationship, because I too am an Arsenal fan. Because obviously my dad had been an Arsenal fan, and we talk a lot about this in the Football for Breakfast kind of promo work. A lot of my relationship with football is about my relationship with my dad, and this keeps coming back on this podcast. But so I want you to take me back to that day. You said you watched it on the TV, and obviously very few live games in those days. It was highlight reels, right? So what describe your front room? What does your front room
we
look
were
like?
just sat round and we were watching it, and the moment of
Black and white TV?
Yes, so that 79. We had a black and white TV then. Yes, that's correct. And it was just the
ITV or BBC?
We were watching it on BBC.
Right. Is that because your parents didn't trust the other side?
No. It was just probably at the time. So it was just. I suppose the football coverage with the match of the day and all of that.
Well, it was Grandstand, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Grandstand. So it was quite interesting.
It started early.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would the coverage
like
would
football
start.
Focus, wasn't it? It was that sort of time, wasn't it?
But if you remember, FA Cup final Grandstand, you'd watch Grandstand through the season, waiting for the half-time scores, and then the vidi printer, the teleprinter. I'm old enough to remember the teleprinter. When it was like paper. And you'd watch.
Exactly.
I mean, you tell kids this now. Okay. You would literally get your information about how your team was doing, and it might be some like David Coleman or Frank Boff sitting reading out the results as they came in.
Yeah.
Right. But that would be in Grandstand terms, it would be interspersed with karate or point-to-point riding or then the rugby league or something like that. But Cup final Grandstand was dedicated.
Oh, it's the whole thing with the wives and
it was
the whole
4 hours,
right?
4 hours.
The coach journey.
The coach journey.
Yeah.
Can you imagine now? The idea.
The FA Cup then compared to now, it's it's a completely different story, right? In terms of what it was then, in terms of the whole build up, and then every team would have a song and all of those kind of things.
Yeah, like a record.
Yeah. So I mean, in answer to your question, my love for Arsenal started then. I mean, obviously they played Man United at the time, and it was quite interesting, and I liked Terry Neill's antics from the side in terms of, and that was my first exposure to it. But I think really Alan Sunderland played an amazing, and he was the reason I guess really that I started following Arsenal, and then I went on to.
So a guy from the Midlands with a big afro hair and a moustache.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the reason.
And then Liam Brady, and all of those people from there on, and then basically from him to Don Howe, and then Don Howe obviously went.
I mean, they weren't great times to be an Arsenal fan.
No, they weren't. But the thing is, I don't know, there was that. I think I like Arsenal's values, and I talk about that to why I still am very engaged with Arsenal for those reasons, actually.
So, the values thing, what does football mean to you?
It's a very good question. I mean, for me, it's an escape from everyday life type of scenario, and you're in that 90 minutes. Now we actually go to games. I mean, I've been an Arsenal season ticket holder for over 25 years.
Yeah.
And so, when we go to games and we're connected, and you're with that community of people, and you go through the highs and lows together, right? And that's very similar in business as well, in terms of when in the businesses that I've been in, great teams really deliver you the results and the ones where it's challenging times are when you're tested as a group. And I think it's easy to enjoy the good moments, and the good moments give you confidence, but really you're tested when it's challenging times, and I think that's what the value of belonging and togetherness plays a big role.
I mean, Football for Breakfast as a podcast is about the culture of the game, and something that comes back a lot is that notion of community, but culture shifts, and you've sort of mentioned there the times, and you I'm assuming an Emirates season ticket holder for 20 years, but obviously your first experience as being an Arsenal fan would have been at Highbury.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And even though they are down the road from each other, they are chalk and cheese in terms of an experience.
Oh, absolutely.
So, what do you think? I mean, set the scene. A match day at Highbury compared to a match day at the Emirates.
Yeah. So when it was a match day, I was living in North London at the time. So I lived in between Palmer's Green and Southgate. So I would take the train from Palmer's Green, and basically my match ritual was basically that I would sort of get there early. I'd meet a friend of mine that we used to go together, and then we used to grab some, actually go to the same place for something to eat, and then we would go into the game. This was before all the catering days and all of that was there, and then we sat in the North Bank. And
sat in the North Bank?
Yeah,
stood in the North Bank?
Yeah, so we sat in the North Bank, where, that's where I...
The Arsenal bond scheme and all that?
So I
Were you a bond holder?
I am, yes.
Right,
So that's how I got in.
Right.
I was very fortunate at the time, and, and maybe I should have done two. My son now tells me, Dad, why didn't you get two? Yeah. And even Rebecca, my wife, sort of says the same.
It was the right to the Arsenal bond scheme when they redeveloped the North Bank at Highbury was the right to buy a season ticket, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it led to the debenture that allowed them to sort of go on and build the Emirates Stadium.
But, so that kind of almost self-funded model.
So that was how it started for me. And before then, I was on the the red scheme and just try and get tickets wherever I could. But then me and my friend would go quite regularly, and he was going to the games during the 70s, but I didn't, because he lived quite close to the stadium. But we sort of were friends during our time at work. But so I mean, I think to answer your question is that the thing that connects me to football is that being in touch with people from all walks of life, and engaging with them and being in touch with what I call reality, and not forgetting what the whole world is about.
So we, on that subject, we ask everybody who comes on the show to nominate a grassroots team, and you nominated Vauxhall.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because it really gave my son the confidence, right? So,
your youngest son?
Yeah, my youngest son, right. And then also I felt that,
because he's the football nut like you, isn't he?
He's the football, So he's big into the football. My older son's into more of the commercial mindset, and basically he's very driven. But that's aside. But the Vauxhall connection really is because it was local, it was grassroots. The setup was pretty good. Tony Woodley was the chair at the time, and I think he did a very good job of trying to putting Vauxhall back on the map. And then they engaged with parents. The coaches were people who were parents, and it gave my son confidence, right? So in terms of, he was right-sided defender, and then he sometimes played the midfield role as well. But he was a defender, and he really enjoyed it.
Saturday mornings.
This was Saturday mornings, and then it went on to Sunday mornings, in some cases, but usually Saturday morning.
Because am I right in saying that the Vauxhall setup is it has some attribute. It's in some way linked to the Vauxhalls.
It was originally
in Ellesmere Port.
Yes, correct.
Right, but now it's separate from it.
Now it's been separate.
It's the social club.
Yeah, it's the social club, and the funding is done through the parents.
But it's a really quite prominent non-league team as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So they play in the Junior Premier League now. I mean, my son's not involved in there anymore, but I think it's
and they feed a little bit into some of the bigger clubs as well, don't they?
Yeah. So, but I mean, the point really being is it's a grassroots club, and it has from early years to older years, and then, as you say, it feeds into other leagues and so forth. And but the connection, I guess, really also, even though Vauxhalls aren't directly involved in it anymore, but the connection is still there.
And what's the social aspect like?
I think the social aspect is very good. The parents socialise together, and the kids come up together, and then they go to birthday parties. So that's the usual thing that you would have, and it's that feeling of togetherness. When they go through, and I mentioned to you earlier about in business as well, and in that setting as well, you grow in confidence through the good times and the bad times that you spent as a team, and that really was what I think was a learning. And when I look back at the photos, that's what Toby enjoyed.
So there's our half-time whistle.
Okay.
After the break, we will talk a little bit about your commercial world.
Okay, good.
And how football kind of relates to that.
Sure, brilliant.
This show exists because people believed in what it could be before it was anything. J.B. Priestley wrote about football turning strangers into companions, a community built in 90 minutes. And that's the whole idea behind what we're doing here. And OSS Security got that straight away. Not just the podcast, but the point of it, the belonging, the conversations, the thing that football does to people when it's at its best. They came on board as believers in the show, in the vision, in what this community can become. They say, got you covered. And that's exactly how it feels for the show and for everyone who's part of it. So, whatever you need, whether that's for your business or for your home, simply knowing someone's looking out for you, well, they've got you covered. We're proud to have them with us on this journey, and you can find a link to them in the show notes to find out more. Second half. In the pod, we like to talk about people's business journeys, the work that they do, how football relates to it a little bit, but we don't need to focus too heavily on that. We're really more interested in the work the work that you do, and you have a really interesting career pathway. So I wouldn't mind you just taking me back a little bit in terms of the stuff that you've done and how it's led to you to what I think is quite an extraordinary brief that you're working on currently. Cool.
Yeah, so I've got a degree in marketing, and my background was commercial, and then I basically started in pharmaceutical sales as a medical rep, and then from medical rep I moved into doing sales training and sort of influencing people without authority, which is quite interesting to what we might talk about. And then after that, I basically moved into sales management, say leadership positions for 10 years, managing big teams and working in really interesting areas such as cardiovascular, diabetes.
You were doing influencer marketing before people knew that it was called influencer marketing.
Well, I don't know. So it's what I call it is influencing without authority. It's going to convince people to do something of their own free will, without feeling they have to do it because you're their line manager. Okay. That's really the interesting part.
Is that business to business function?
No, it's just working with people. So you and I in the team, and I'm not your line manager, but we have the same line manager, and why should you listen to me, right? Because I'm your coach, right? Whereas, but I'm not your boss, right? So that's quite interesting. And I think, the key point is how do you take people with you? In the first half, we talked about the connection with...
So you're more Don Howe than Terry Neill?
Yeah,
right?
Probably,
Because you know the whole thing about Don Howe. If you look at Don Howe's career as a coach, right, he was the mastermind behind the Arsenal 70-71 team. Yeah. He was Ron Greenwood's number two for England, Bobby Robson's number 2, and Terry Venables' number 2, right? That's almost 3 generations of footballers that relied on Don Howe for tactical analysis and awareness.
I led marketing organisations within the pharmaceutical industry. I worked for companies, big companies like Sanofi. I went through mergers, and that was also interesting when you basically are put into a position of where you're having to manage a different group of people, and how do you work in that scenario? And then
these were global teams, weren't they?
No, they become global teams. These were, and then I moved into European lead positions, working for companies like Abbott and launching disruptive technology. And then from Abbott, I moved to Johnson & Johnson and worked for smaller companies. And so now I'm in a global position where in the last 15 years, I've managed global teams. And basically now I'm in the most interesting and challenging job I've ever had in my life. And I work in a startup, and it's in the ophthalmology field, and it's basically for age macular degeneration. The product we have is a miniature it's implantable telescope, and it basically helps patients who are legally blind to be able to see again. So this is quite significant.
It's incredible.
And my job is to try and convince people of the NHSs around the world with my team.
The health authorities.
Yeah, the health authorities to pay for the product and the value that product brings to the healthcare system.
So who let's go back to the influencer marketing thing. Who are your skills, who are they coming up against, the sort of people that you're having to influence with your skill set?
It's a very interesting question. The first thing is the people, because internally I was managing teams or trying to improve sales performance.
So bureaucrats.
So you're firstly doing that. So you've got to try and find what I called understanding their hygiene factors, what's important to them, and then basically addressing those.
Right.
And then people are motivated to cross the line, and they will cross the line for you on the basis that you understand them, and at the same time they see that you're working for them.
Right.
And for me, transparency is everything. Right? Is they get transparent, and that goes to customers as well. I'm always honest. I mean, I have the really strong relationship with global clinicians, professors.
I was about to say, the research element must be huge.
And I've worked with many European and global societies, medical societies, and work with their corporate boards and board of directors. And the biggest thing is trust, openness, and honesty, and standing by your beliefs. Right? Sometimes that can be quite lonely, right? And that's what I really relate to football and to where Mikel Arteta is today. Right? So we can talk about that later on, but there's some great parallels from the Wenger years where we are.
Talk to me about that then.
Yeah, so the thing I noticed before coming here as well is that if I look at the Wenger journey, when Arsene Wenger arrived, it's very well documented.
He was a pioneer.
Arsene who, in terms of we all thought that, and he looked like a economics
and he was in
teacher.
the wilderness at the time as well, right?
So, economics teacher, but he worked in from different backgrounds. From Japan, to France, all of those kind of things, and
building research, doing his own R&D,
and understanding cultures, how people tick, and the thing is, he took on a team was a really good George Graham, Bruce Rioch.
He'd been left a good foundation,
a bit like what Arne Slot inherited, I guess you could say, and then he was able to win a league quite quickly, right? But the thing is, he still was trying to address the culture, right? And the cultural change from Tony Adams, Ian Wright, all of those kind of things, and Paul Merson.
The drinking.
And addressing
the looking after themselves.
And then showing how they could increase the longevity of what they do.
Well, he extended Lee Dixon's career by about 8 years.
And in the same way in healthcare, now we see that patients are living longer because they're looking after themselves, right? And there's a link, right?
But the values thing, I want to drill down on that, right? Because you talked a lot about values, and we talk a lot about this in this environment. I suspect based on where you come from and your own heritage and background, that it's really important for you, particularly with this brief, and I suspect, because this is so groundbreaking in terms of its work, this will probably see you through to probably where you will say that's enough for me. You'll hang your boots up, right? The transformative impact of this technology, particularly in areas of social deprivation, must be potentially incredible. The big pharma gets a tough. Get a tough ride, right? If you listen to any conspiracy theorist, they think Big Pharma controls the world. But actually, Big Pharma also does a lot of good for the world.
Absolutely.
A lot of good for the world, right? And it is one of your kind of your value points to ensure that this kind of work doesn't just get to the American market, and
it's a global effort, right? So what we're trying to do is to reach patients where age macular degeneration is an issue, and then we prioritize countries where is the highest prevalence. Asia is one of those, and as well as Europe, certain parts of Europe. So there, Australia is another example. But to give you some reality towards it is that if you think that you've not been able to see for the last 15 to 20 years, and then you're able to start recognizing faces, you're able to read, right? You're able to basically do hobbies that you weren't able to do before. It's been quite a shift in terms of the ability to give people confidence to do things on their own, right? And in the same way, in the football setting, what people are trying to do whether you're at grassroots or whether you're, right at the Premier League level of where the managers and the coaches are going, is that you're trying to give people confidence based on their current skill set or where they are right now, and to allow them to elevate themselves to the next level.
You're mission driven. You're mission driven.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, before you came in, we asked you to bring something with you, an object, something that connects you to a football memory, and I can see it just there. So, if you can pick it up and sort of tell me what it is.
I got, Jim, I've been an Arsenal fan a long time, and the thing is that I remember sat next to one of my really good friends, and we were watching the game, and I'll never forget, I said to him, you know what, we won't see football played like this for a long time. Let's enjoy it. And we were in our early 30s at that point, right? So this shirt that I have is the one that I wore in 2003 to 2004 Invincibles season. Right?
It's the O2 shirt.
Yeah, it's the O2 shirt.
It's the Henry shirt.
It's the Henry shirt. And then I last wore this properly. My memory is from the 15th of May, the last home game.
2004.
Yeah, 2004.
Leicester City. When they went a goal up.
Yeah, they went out a goal
Martin
up.
Keown didn't think he was going to get his medal.
Yeah, and then we had Henry and Vieira score, right?
Yeah.
So, and those things are, it's really important. I mean, now my son sees it. I'm sorry I couldn't find some of my old programs, but I've still got them in the loft.
I too have an Invincible shirt, and again it's in the promo reel. Yeah. And it's a player issue Freddie Ljungberg shirt. Yeah. It's the away kit from that season, and it's signed by the entire squad, and I just couldn't part with it for anything. But this particular shirt I used to wear underneath my my Port Sunlight Nomad shirt, because it made me feel like an Invincible. And I think anybody that wears that shirt, I bet you when you're doing global influence marketing for macular degeneration, health authority work, you should have that underneath your shirt, it would make you feel invincible.
You're not wrong. I mean, but the thing is, just to give you some sort of, I haven't put on that shirt on since...
You haven't worn it?
Yeah, since 2004. But I have an inclination that I may wear it on the 25th of May.
Oh, don't.
So there we are.
We're not supposed to talk too much about current football on this show, because we'll end up sounding like the other lot. Yeah. So you get 5 questions, like penalty kicks, right? Your hesitation decides on whether it's going over the bar, whether it gets saved, okay, ready. So these are quick fire questions, quick fire answers. First one, home or away?
Home.
Watching or playing?
Watching.
Best captain?
Vieira.
VAR or nah?
VAR.
International friendlies or pre-season friendlies?
Pre-season.
Okay. Doesn't have to be football. One result you'll never get over.
Barcelona.
Champions League 2006 final.
Yeah,
how weird. That's mine too.
Oh, is it?
It's mine too. One we'll never get over. But I'm not the guest on this show.
No. I'll tell you why I won't get over it. It's because we booked that as a bet. When I say a bet, we just took a bet in the quarterfinals, I think it was, and we thought, right, let's book our tickets. We booked our tickets, booked our hotel, and we were single at the time, so it all sort of was all right. So it's a good thing for us to do without having any sort of responsibilities. And then we went to the game, but the only thing was our flight was back on Sunday evening, which was at 9:00, and I tell you what, it's the most miserable time, when you lose. And me and my friend who sat next to me, as I said, it was horrible. I will never forget that.
I lay on my back in my front room in the dark for 5 hours and didn't move.
Amazing.
I know. And you tell Liverpool fans who've won the European Cup 100 times, that story, and they just look at you like, what's your problem? Do you know what I mean? You know, it is something for another day. Everybody that joins the podcast becomes a good companion.
Right.
J.B. Priestley.
Right.
He wrote this book.
Yes.
Right, The Good Companions.
Yes.
And it talks about the culture.
Yes.
Of football. There's a little object for you there.
Oh wow.
If you pick it up.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you read it there, it says.
Oh, football for breakfast. Good companion. 25-26. Oh wow, that's very kind of you.
Syed Rashid, thank you for being
so
a good
much.
companion.
No, I really appreciate it. It's great.
Syed Rashid is a leader who's learned that whether in a boardroom or on the terraces, the best results come from trust, people and culture. Football for Breakfast is a production by The Good Companions, brought to you by OSS Security. They've got you covered at osssecurity.com.
From the floodlights to the white line turns out to gray.